Viewers, in this series of programs on mathematics for cleaning a sub series on circles, we propose to in this sub series give you some of the properties of the circle, and before doing that we propose to review some of the concepts. That the first question, what do we understand by a circle? Let us see, a circle, when we draw it on the plane, that is on your notebook or on the blackboard, we take a point on the plane and we call this point the center. Having this as center, we try to pick up all those points, that is mark all those points which are at a given or at a given distance, fixed distance from this point, like this. See, all these points, the distance from this point where the compass is anchored, they are not being changed. Now, all these points have got one thing in common, that is, all these points, they are at the same distance from this point, we call it O. Now, in case all the points between these points are also taken, then what we get is a figure like this. That is, we take all the points which are between these, then in case we fill them up like this, then this is the figure that we get. And you know that you have called this figure a circle. In this figure, all the points, they are at the same distance from this point, we call this as the center of the circle. And the distance, if we mark it, then this is the part of the line indicating the distance of the points from this fixed point. This line as also the distance interchangeably are termed as the radius of the circle. But the question is, which part of the figure is circle and which part of the figure, as in previous classes you must have mentioned, is the circumference. Now, these two things we need to be very clear about. That is, we want to know the difference between circle and the circumference. Remember, we said that these points, set of these points which are equidistant from a given point, is the circle. Another way of saying this is, because we were having the compass here, taking a point, then moving around and then marking all these points, this can also be called as the locus of a point, so that it moves keeping the distance from a fixed point always the same. Then circle is this figure, all these points, or this locus, and the measure, that how long is the line in case we take a thread, or another way of measuring, that is, in case how long this line is, this measurement is called the circumference. So, the circumference is the measure of the circle and the circle is the figure. Having understood the circle, the radius, the center and the circumference, we go on to mark another extension of this radius. That is, in case I extend the radius from end to end, that is, we take the other end on the circle again, and let us say this is A, this is B. Radius is OB, and from A to B it is double the radius, we term it as the diameter of the circle. This is the diameter of the circle. and in case I draw a line say like this, this is a part of the line or a line segment, the end points are on the circle PQ. A line segment which is having the end points on the circle is termed as the chord of the circle. So, I have seen the chord, the radius, the diameter, the circle, and the difference between these two we have understood clearly. Now, this chord is splitting this circle into two parts. This is one part, this is another part. This is an arc, this is also an arc of the same circle. We would like to consider this figure separately. So, let us draw this part of the figure separately and study a bit more details about this kind of arc which is determined by a chord. So, we draw a circle again, center O, we draw a chord, this is one of the chords. Chord could be anywhere with respect to this circle, but the condition is the end points should be on the circle. P, Q can be anywhere, P has got to be on the circle, Q has got to be on the circle. Now, this is giving us this part of the circle, we call this as an arc, we call this also an arc. Clearly, this arc is larger or longer than this one, we call this arc a minor arc, and this as the major arc. So, a circle gives us two arcs, one is minor, one is major. Now, do you think that a chord whenever it is drawn in a circle will give us two kinds of arcs, one minor, one major? Well, the first part is right, it is going to give us two arcs, yes, but can you think of a situation when this minor arc and the major arc they are going to be equal? Let us examine that. If I draw this chord like this, now this point P has come here, this point Q has come here. Just to differentiate between the two, let me put a little mark here. This chord is now so drawn in the circle that the end points are on the circle, yes, that is the first condition, but this chord is having the center of the circle on it. Remember what we called this? We said this is the diameter of the circle. So, another thing, the diameter is also one of the chords of the circle, the diameter is also a chord of the circle. Now, what is this doing? Giving us this as one arc, this as another arc, and splitting these two in the same manner, that is, this seems is going to be equal to this one, which can be verified by folding the circle along the diameter or by actually measuring it. So, we get whenever we draw a diameter, two parts of the circle which we call semicircle, semi for half and that is semicircle. So, what we see is that whenever we draw a circle, and in that circle we draw a diameter, then we will be getting semicircle. See like this, again taken a circle. Now, this diameter may be drawn here, we will get two semicircles. This is going to give us semicircles. The diameter can be drawn like this. This also is going to give us two semicircles, one here, that is from here along this, another semicircle along this. So, these are semicircles given by this diameter. That means, the diameter can be anywhere.